All right. Well, hello everyone, our awesome viewersoides out there today. We're here to take you on a wonderful sports adventure. No, I'm just kidding. That's not how we're starting it. That'd be
A
ridiculous. All
wonderful
right.
sports adventure. Wow. That doesn't sound like an adventure I'd want to go on with you, Donkey. That sounds a little bit ominous.
Well, dude, last time we started on this map, we got fucking known. All right. Anyway, hello everybody, and welcome to week 2 of your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger Sports Talk. We're here to bring you all that we know from week 2 and what we're looking for in week 3. So, Gingy, your random thoughts from week 2.
Oh man. Game of the week, Sunday night. Watching those New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks play. Looking at two top premier teams, really like both offenses. Really, I find it really interesting, Donkey, what you're doing up in New England, up there. You know, really switching it around, running Army-Navy football. How did John Gruden stay it this week? They got him in a power forward position at quarterback.
Yeah, man. No doubt.
That was a heck of a game, though. That was one of my big takeaways. Good teams still playing good. Chiefs, Ravens in the AFC. Not not much to say there. Good teams playing good. But that'll lead us into talking about the Ravens' opponent last week, which is going to be the Steelers' opponent this upcoming week, the Texans. But we'll get into that a little bit more later. But yeah, what do you think, Donkey?
Yeah, like you said, that Seattle game was amazing. Russell Wilson's trying to add that MVP trophy to his nice little case he's got going on over there. Definitely stepping up big time. I'm just really happy after watching the Giants Week 2 game to see that we evaded that terrible field without an injury. I mean, ACLs were popping left and right out there. That was just a bad game for injuries. What was it? Saquon's gone. Solomon Thomas gone. Who else was gone out there? There's another big one. Bosa. San Francisco's Bosa got hurt. Garoppolo got hurt. That New York field just must have been terrible as everyone just seemed to be getting injured. And I guess that's the thing I saw in week 2 is just how many teams lost big-time players.
Yeah, it really seems to be happening
No
a lot around the
preseason?
league. Yeah,
Just no
I think that
preseasons leading and all that?
no preseason, some sort of modified, training camps, different activities like that. I think it's really leading to maybe possible overall health concerns. We'll have to see more. We're only week 2, small sample size.
Yeah.
Really have to see how the rest of that plays out as the season.
Hey, maybe the
continues
world's
on.
getting back to normal. I mean, Atlanta blew another huge lead, so things are getting back to normal in the world. So,
Wow, yeah.
I mean, seriously, I've never seen an onside kick where both teams just stood around the football singing Kumbaya, but I can say I've seen that now. That's something I never expected in a football game, but cool.
I mean, you heard me talk about the Cowboys last week, and they did everything in the whole that they possibly could to ensure that I was correct about their lack of moxie and otherwise performance. But a W's a W, and that's the same with the Steelers. Pulling one out in a game that does come down to the final drive, despite really primo defensive performance. Really held them in that game. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about there.
Ooh, that guy just... I don't know what's gonna go on in the rest of those spots, but I mean, you watch some old quarterbacks in new spots not play great but get their first wins. I'm looking at Tom Brady down there in Tampa Bay, and somehow Indianapolis won their game. I mean, without a very stellar performance by the new Phillip Rivers, but hey, a win's a win. That's the way Steelers looking at it right now. I mean, not like we got a pretty win this week, but got the win.
Another team in Indianapolis where that defense is really keeping them around and really I think is going to have them hanging around for a while. They took a big loss over Paris
Vegas
Campbell.
Raiders.
Oh, how about them Vegas Raiders? That was probably the upset of the week in my mind. I understand that. I don't know if I want to attribute that to the Raiders or an off night on the Saints offense. But either way, they came out of there with the W.
That Saints offense without Michael Thomas. Ugh.
It's different. It's different.
Not sure I am a fan.
It's It's different.
But yeah, we got that going for us. So now let's dive into what everybody's definitely here for. Steelers week 2 get the win over the Broncos. Well, I mean, it was a win.
And it's
It
looking
was
like
not
Steelers
the prettiest win.
football season. Oh, tell me, Donkey, about. And I'll tell you, I was just watching my TV, end of the first quarter. You know, Broncos on the drive. And you see Drew Lock get hit off balance. You know, he's trying to be a hero out there. And he takes one heck of a lick from Bud Dupree. And, you know, obviously we don't want to see the guy get injured. We wish him well. I don't know what the prognosis is on that donkey for Drew Lock, but moral of the story is that Steelers defense is swarming, okay? And I talked about it last week in terms of the pass rush and the pressure up the middle from the pass rush on the outsides, and we saw continually a heavy dose of that. Mike Hilton played a heck of a game. Really,
He was a great slot corner.
so situational. But appropriate though. You can tell that unit has a lot of experience together, and that they and that this isn't their first rodeo on running that way.
No, and the blitzing packages is so great. I think the run D was pretty darn good last week, but I still have the same problem that we've had for like 10 years. This team cannot cover a tight end and a running back out of the backfield to save their lives. And when the Broncos started making the comeback is when they started not blocking with Noah Fant anymore and just letting him run down the seams, and we just couldn't cover him. That's a scary thing going to the future when you think the two biggest threats right now, at least it looks like, is Baltimore, who only throws to the tight ends, and Kansas City, whose biggest threat, in my opinion, is Kelsey with the tight end. I mean, I'd love to see that shored up a little more, and this was a good week to get some good practice in it because, I mean, Fant is the type of guy you want to see being stopped, but it just looked like Devin Bush was just, it seemed like he was in position, but he was just 6 inches too short.
I see what you're saying. I do. I think in a more general way, Donkey, what I still see is still more of the same from the Steelers in terms of their culture, in terms of their football that they're playing. It's always bend but don't break defense. They have no problem giving up a play, giving up some yards. When it comes down to clutch time in the W, though, I think they're there. What I'm really seeing, though, is a very inconsistent and stuttering offense. You know, when Ben Roethlisberger comes on the field and he gets a first down, I feel like that there is more. I feel like there's a drive there, right? But there are so many opportunities I'm seeing out there where we have a big defensive stop. You know, we're swarming a quarterback on 3rd and 12. Everyone's hyped. TJ's screaming up and down, throwing the boot up there, and we go out, and this offense goes 3 and out, and they're right back out there, right back where they started. No field position gain, nothing really, just swapping back and forth. And really, the opportunities that are being created on offense are coming from what's being done on the defense in terms of the takeaways.
I see you there, but I give the offense a little more credit than that. I mean, to me, the play of this week was right after, is it Cam Sutton gets called for the block in the back on Deontay Johnson's punt return touchdown? Was it Cam Sutton?
Yes, it was.
All right, so the play, wasn't it the very next play after the Cam Sutton penalty? They just throw that ball. Chase Claypool, Mr. Magic Feet himself, doesn't step out of bounds and gets that touchdown. Right there, that bounce back to me was just a play of the week, the play of the game, and I honestly think the reason why we won that football game. So I'm going to give the offense a little more love.
Okay,
I mean, to me, that was just the ability to just stay super focused there and not let that affect you and go out and get it done. I was like, that's what I want to see. If it means I need to see more of PFF's currently #1 ranked wide receiver Chase Claypool, give me more Chase Claypool.
I agree with you, and I'll tell you what, that was quite, that play really stuck out. That was a well-thrown ball by Ben Roethlisberger and an extremely acrobatic catch on the outside by the young man. You got to give him props there. Yeah, I was just talking. I was talking about maybe a more generalized game-wide view of the offense. Yeah, there were definitely moments in which the offense shined. You see James Conner coming back off what was a pretty questionable injury in week 1, and having about 5.7 yards per carry.
Yeah, but
over 100 yards,
15,
touchdown.
15 carry. It was 15 carries for 50 and 1 for 59. I mean, I'd love to see a lot more of a push. I just don't feel like the offensive line's generating any push, and that's going to be scary because we're doing all these screen passes and all these runs, and if we can't generate push, you're not going to get anything from them. And again, scripted series in this offense, why do they never work? We start the game with a scripted series that just fails again. It's like we're afraid to let Ben be Ben until the game's on the line.
It's true. I was talking with one of my friends this week about that, Donkey. I really, Ben Roethlisberger, that 2-minute is what he's so known for, that 2-minute offense, that deep ball, being able to, change the play at the line. We'd like to see more of that. You and I have been talking about that for years. What's the holdup?
We're waiting to play Baltimore to show our real offense? I don't know.
Maybe.
But at some point, we got to start letting Ben be Ben. At some point, these 2 tight ends that I keep hearing were going to be the big things, the big breakouts, need to show up. I mean, we saw a little more from Ebron this week, but we saw literally nothing from Vance McDonald. I mean, that cannot continue for the Steelers to be successful. We need those 2 tight ends to show up at some point.
And maybe this is just me, Donkey. When I'm watching the game, you can tell me if this is just... I'm feeling like Ebron, when the ball was not coming his way, I don't... it's almost like sacrilegious to say it, but like I said, I feel like he's dogging it. I feel like that boy takes plays off. I don't know. Maybe
I'd have to watch a little closer. I don't know that one for sure, but I definitely have to watch that one closer. But that's
I think you should.
Possibility. I know I haven't really seen him get open, and I know he's been getting. From my understanding, is he's the one that's drawing a lot of the double teams and stuff. But I put both him and McDonald in at the same time. See what's happening. They can't double team them both. They're in there, but
yeah, I mean, still, what do you think about Ben Roethlisberger's stats overall? That was another 300-yard game, 2 touchdowns,
the numbers
a pick. Good. Tell me more about the pick. What do you think about the pick?
Yeah, that's Ben being Ben.
I mean, he was pretty hard on himself after the game. If you listen to post-game interviews, he put a lot of blame on his shoulders. And
he's the veteran. Like he played very well. He's the one that needs to own it. And I actually agree with him. I feel a lot of the drives stalled because, and it's not really Ben's fault, but I mean, yeah, Ben being Ben, but we're forcing Ben to not be Ben. We're out here trying to make him do screen passes and stuff, and they're the type. So tell me if you feel different on this, but I feel like for the first 15 minutes of offense of every game, we try to be a little screen pass, short, New England type of offense where, every play has to be that 5 yards, and if you miss one, it's not going to work. But Ben's not built to do that, and I feel like we don't change until it's too late in circumstances against good teams. I mean, teams like Denver, sure, you can get away with it, but if you're playing Baltimore like that, you're not going to get away with staying away from what you're good at.
I don't disagree with anything that you said right there. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger's accuracy under 7-yard passes in the air is notably different than anything over 10 yards or more across his career.
And I love to see Ben step up and take that leadership role because he is the veteran on this team. He is the old guy on this team. The young guys they have enough pressure to perform for Ben. I mean, everyone's like, these young kids need to step up. They need to be there. Ben's there. They need to take that next jump to the next level, all that stuff. So someone needs to take responsibility, and Ben's old enough, wise enough, he understands it. I mean, essentially it's the New England thing, right? It's everybody's mistake. You own the mistakes. You take the mistakes. That's why that culture's so successful, because they've always had, hey, it's our mistake, we're on to it, let's not talk about it, type of deal.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think it's a good way move into next week versus the Texans, but I don't know. Something else on the offense? Deontay Johnson with another fumble, putting the ball on the ground. Benny Snell was putting the ball on the ground and notably getting replaced
that one was
after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson, the dude has the moves. The dude's the best open field receiver we have, the probably best open field player we have.
10 seconds.
But there are just times you're like, your hands are made of stones. You just can't hold on to the ball.
He's really Ben's #1 target this year, though. Clearly, another 9 receptions last week, and you know, he's getting the ball in his hands a lot, and he's taking on a lot of different roles and special teams as well. And you know, you wonder if the young kid is up to it. I'm not saying one way or the other whether he is or isn't. He's a heck of an athlete, and you know, has a lot to bring. But in clutch situations, I've seen him give it up, man. Seen him give it up a couple times.
Let's chalk it up to young kids learning. I mean, let's hope when the big games come, he's ready now. That's what it comes down to. We got to hope the big games he's ready. When we're talking defense, I have to give a shout out to frickin' Edmonds showing up again. Everyone was worried about him being the weak link, and man, he's looked really good through the first
big play on
2 weeks here in the season. Woo.
Obviously, the big play, the big sack to end the game on 4th down there at the end. It's really what's most notable from him too. I mean, it was a great play. 7 sacks total on the day, was it?
Yep. That's right.
That's 11, 12 for the year.
Yeah, we're going against the Texans team up next, who's given up 4 in each of the first 2 weeks. So hopefully that works out and keeps going.
Yeah, they had consistently issues with keeping Deshaun Watson protected last week when they played the Ravens.
Also, shout out to the special teams, because I ripped on you so hard last week. Way to show up this week and look absolutely great. You take away the block in the back by Sutton on the punt return touchdown. Just absolutely flawless play out of the special teams. That's something that's good to see. That's been an Achilles heel for a while.
Looking a lot better. You were calling for Danny Smith's job last week, if I remember, so he must have heard you, Donkey. He really wanted to stay employed this time around. You know?
I guess so, but it doesn't matter. I've been calling for his job forever. It's clearly not going to get him fired when I say so.
Oh, it's not, but yeah, you're right. The special teams looked a lot better last week. Kudos and shout out to them.
Ray McLeod out there a step away from breaking one. Deontay did break one and got it pulled back for a unnecessary block. I mean, good things all around on their parts.
That block, let's talk about that block and maybe the penalties in general, Donkey. A lot of penalties I feel out there by the Steelers this week.
Was it seven first downs off of penalties by the defense?
A lot.
4 or 5 different PIs.
Really uncharacteristic.
I mean, a lot of people were like, well, most of those PIs shouldn't have been called or ticky-tack, but really, if you look at it, there's 1, maybe 2 of those PIs that were phantom. The rest where there was a lot of grab, and these cornerbacks need to start moving their feet. Like, I can't tell you how many times they got caught flat-footed by, is it Sutton, who was the big receiver before he got hurt in the 3rd quarter? Is that right? For Denver?
Yeah,
he was just couldn't cover him. I mean, we got 2 big played corners. They need to step it up like they did last year. I mean, last year they were amazing, and this year they're early season. They're playing too much with their hands, and it's going to get them caught.
Joe Hayden, I'm looking at you. Joe Hayden, I'm looking at you on that. Insane.
He is definitely a handsy boy.
But, you know, you can't deny that they pull it out. They pulled that game out, and they really they were the premier unit in that game. It was not the offense that won that game.
I'm looking at the points given up, and I can't give anyone. I'll give the special teams the premier unit if we're gonna give one for the day. I'll give it to the special teams. I was more happy with the defense than the offense, but way too many mistakes both ways. Way too many penalties on defense. And just, you can say what you want. Yeah, the offense didn't put them away, but we're Steelers fans. It comes fourth quarter. It comes Renegade time. You don't give up the touchdown.
Yeah, no Renegade time. I mean, I alluded to that last week. Again, I probably would have been there. I would have liked to have been there for sure. And I feel like that lack of a Renegade, that lack of an energy, really makes a difference when you're coming into that fourth quarter. And you saw it on defense this week, I feel.
It definitely does. It didn't feel the same. It didn't feel like the Steelers defense was ready for it, or the emotion just didn't get there. But I mean, when it came to prime time, both units kind of blew a chance to put the game away. Let's be honest. The offense blew a chance to ice it, and the defense blew a chance to ice it. But at the end of the day, we won, so you can't be angry. It's early season. Hope it's just bad play due to the jitters, but I would love to see just a little more that finishing vibe, that instead of trying to win by a 12-round vote, like in boxing, you go for that knockout in the 7th. Like, just the killer instinct just isn't there yet. So how
gotta eliminate the unnecessary mistakes. The penalties. Couple Steelers on defense, I believe, even fined this week for a couple different infractions. I think Minkah was fined for the horse collar tackle at the end of the one drive, which led to points. I mean they were already in scoring position anyway, but that drive ended in points for Denver, as did Mike Hilton, I believe, flagged for unnecessary roughness. Late hit on the quarterback. One play after that, 20-yard pass completion for a touchdown. So a couple Steelers fined this week. A couple, they were looking at physical play on defense. I mean, that happens from time to time. But like I said, those penalties in game, they lead to things. They have consequences, and they showed. There's definitely areas to tighten up on that defense. There is,
for sure.
It's still early. It's still week 2.
Yep. Stat line of the week: we continued the terrible streak with 25 straight games with a turnover. I mean, that's cool.
That's something.
Yeah, that's a fun one to go. The thing I was noticing again is we get to these 3rd and longs, and we're the Blitzburg Steelers, and we just don't blitz, and then teams convert these 3rd and longs on us. I mean, when does it stop? When do we start bringing pressure on 3rd and long instead of just sitting back and letting them somehow always torch our apparently super soft zones during that time?
It's all about it's about getting that pressure up the middle. If it works, it works, man. And it has so far for a couple W's. So I anticipate it keeping up this week.
Let's hope so. Well, let's hope they actually start bringing some pressure on 3rd and long, and we get out of those situations, I guess is what I should say. Anyway, let's move on to this week's opponent, the Houston Texans. What are you looking for?
What I'm looking for is actually a good football game. I think the Texans, take a look at the first 2 games that they played this season. They got a raw deal. They opened up versus Kansas City and then played Baltimore in week 2. So their caliber of opponents so far. You see Texas is an 0-2 football team, but I don't think that they're going to play us like an 0-2 football team, donkey.
No, that's a playoff team that now is absolutely in, oh my god, survival mode, and that's scary to face right now this early in the season.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted to see, was them be 0-2. Yeah.
They're desperate for a win, and that makes me very nervous because I feel like they need that win a lot more than the Steelers do, and I hope that they don't let that get in their head too much. Steelers.
Yeah, that desperate team is going to be scary. I mean, we haven't seen the best of Deshaun Watson this year, that's for sure. He's just not getting, that offensive line's just not really protecting him. I mean, their skill positions are pretty dang talented. David Johnson's first week looked really good. Second week looked like he has the last 2 years, unfortunately. Maybe Duke Johnson doesn't play. I know he's listed as questionable, I believe, and that'd be a huge thing for us because Duke Johnson has always done well against the Steelers, even when he was on the lowly Browns, so I'd prefer him not to play.
Well, you got to look at taking away what weapons do the Texans have available to them. You know, obviously it's Deshaun Watson at quarterback being a dual threat on the ground and in the air, and you know they got their skill position players. I believe it's Will Fuller taking up the #1 role since losing DeAndre Hopkins
Fuller
down
or Brandon
there.
Cooks, yeah.
Yeah, Fuller and Cooks both down there. So we really got to shut down those guys on the outside. And try to hold that. I mean, their defense is kind of similar, you know, to the Steelers. We pressure up the middle with J.J. Watt, and we gotta protect Ben.
Yeah, for sure. Gotta let Ben get out there, get throwing. Gotta get some separation. Whoever's going up against Brandon Roby's got to get some separation because you're gonna be left one-on-one all day. That's gonna be the matchup to win. If we can win that matchup out there, whether it be Juju, Deontay, James Washington, whoever's on that outside matchup, I think if that's a win all day, we're going to have a field day out there because there will be all sorts of openings to play in. If they lose that matchup, it could be a bad day. I'd love to see some push from the offensive line. Maybe with DeCastro getting back, we do a little more pulling guard. We get a little more power O. Get a little more running yard instead of like a yard a carry. Get up to, I don't know, that 4 or 5 yard a carry area.
I mean, you know how I feel about Power O, baby. Let's go.
Bring it back. Or, hell, why not just the receiving core we have? Why not let's see what these kids can do, right? I mean, they're definitely stacked out there. Get some 4 wide receiver sets, really throw them off. Maybe that's the way to do it now, is instead of playing up tight with our 2 tight ends, because that running formation hasn't been working, maybe we just go spread 4 wide and do little counters and draw plays.
We got guys that can block for that donkey.
So we got guys that, I mean, we're supposed to have the most athletic line in the league, right? I mean, DeCastro's
That's
a puller,
true.
Pouncey's a puller. That's all I ever hear about. Well, it's time to show
true.
it. Or maybe,
I agree.
maybe just maybe last week, and the fun stat line is if we average like 8 yards a carry when Derek Watt's on the field, although that's super skewed because of James Conner's 59-yard run in one of his 11 plays on the field. But
It is, but I'm a big fan of a fullback, and I think that has been traditionally what the Steelers have used, and I think that is what they need to get back to.
back to the fullback. Oh my gosh, that dude just double rocketed us. That's
Wow.
rough.
Oh, that's unpleasant. Yeah, I actually do. I mean, Roosevelt Nix was a big part of the Steelers' running game last couple years. Lost him, and I think Derek Watt has an opportunity there to replace that role and get back to Steelers football. The personnel's there for it, donkey. I mean, you play. You don't. I don't try to put players into a system. I try to put a system around the players. As I hope they're doing.
Who knows what they're doing? I mean, it's working. I'm not going to complain. Got a good chance to keep it going. We got to.
Everybody's got to stay healthy. And but like the Texans are going to be a desperate team, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be probably a great game.
I hope so. I hope it's another Steelers victory. I mean, 2 for 2. Let's go 3 for 3. Let's just keep it rolling. Every win gets us one closer to the playoffs.
Yeah, got to keep pace with Baltimore. I mean, 2-0, 2-0, top of AFC North.
Alrighty, well, that seems like a good way to end the episode. Thank everybody for tuning in. Feel free to follow us on social, drop us a like. We'll be updating our schedule, hopefully adding more content as the time comes around. Right now, we're going to definitely try to do the sports talk every week. I think Saturday night's going to be the night. Once we
That's
get
what
a
I'm
time
talking
set
about.
for sure. I'll put it out there on the Facebook and the Twitter sphere so everybody can keep up. And then Gingy, you got anything you need to drop down? This is your time to shine.
You know what? My time to shine is going to be as soon as we get this 50 squad here. Come on, man. Let's go.
And again, thank everybody who tuned in. There's the victory on
that's
me
the shine
dying.
right there.
Let's go. Right there. Victory for my death.
Yes,
Alrighty,
Donkey.
we'll catch you all back here next week. You want to tune in live? You have any questions you want us to answer? Because we are free to talk more than just Steelers talk. If you're a fan of any other team, feel free to come in. Tell us what you think. We'll look into your team. We can have a conversation with you based off your questions. We'll give you your answers, and then you can hit us back with responses on any of the social medias. Comments on the YouTube's probably the easiest way for us to check in and see what you're doing. And let us know what you think. You want more of something? You want less of something? You think we're stupid? It don't matter. Tell us all.
Here we go, Steelers Nation. Wave them towels, baby. Let's go.